Hello, my Agile friends. Welcome back to Agile Unlocked for another bite-sized Agile lesson. I'm Coach RL, and today we're getting into the way many of us look at team productivity, work in progress limits, or WIP limits for short. Now, if you're picturing a Kanban board in your mind, you're already halfway there. You know, those columns to do, in progress, done, with sticky notes or cards moving across. That's the visual I want you to keep in mind. WIP limits are basically the maximum number of tasks you allow in any one of those columns at a time. So if your in progress column has a WIP limit of 3, you can't start a fourth task until one of those 3 is finished and moved along. It's like putting a speed limit on a busy highway, except instead of cars, it's your team's work. And instead of traffic jams, you're avoiding bottlenecks and chaos. The real magic here is focus. WIP limits force us to finish what we've started before we pile on more. I remember the first time I introduced WIP limits to a team that was used to juggling, 10 things at once. They were skeptical, thought it would slow them down. But what happened? Suddenly, the work was visible. We could see exactly where things were getting stuck. Instead of everyone grabbing new tasks and leaving half-finished work everywhere, the team started collaborating to get things done. It was like someone turned on the lights in a cluttered room. That clarity, that's what WIP limits bring to the table. So why do WIP limits matter so much for Agile teams? Well, let's be real. Most teams, especially in fast-paced environments, are tempted to multitask. But here's the thing. When you're working on too many things at once, you're not actually getting more done. You're just spreading yourself thin and the quality drops. WIP limits help you zero in on what's important, finish it, and then move on. That's how you boost productivity and keep your workflow humming. Let me give you a quick comparison. Imagine Team A has no WIP limits. They've got 10 tasks in progress. Everyone's bouncing between work and it feels busy, but nothing's actually getting finished. Now, Team B sets a WIP limit of 3. They focus, collaborate, and tasks actually move to done faster. The difference? Team B can spot bottlenecks right away. If the in progress column is full, they know something's blocking the flow. That's a signal to swarm and solve the problem, not just start something new. And, limiting multitasking isn't just about speed, it's about quality. When you're not constantly switching gears, you make fewer mistakes and the work is just better. I get this question a lot. How do WIP limits actually reveal bottlenecks? Well, when you hit your limit and can't pull in new work, you're forced to look at what's stuck. Maybe it's waiting on a review, or maybe there's a dependency. Either way, you see the problem before it snowballs. And that's the real value. WIP limits make the invisible visible, so you can fix issues early and keep your team from feeling overwhelmed. All right, let's talk about how to actually set WIP limits that work for your team. First off, there's no magic number. You want to start with something just below your team's full capacity. So if you've got 5 people and they're used to handling 5 tasks at once, try setting the limit at 4. That little bit of slack helps you handle surprises without overloading anyone. And don't just set it and forget it. Review your limits regularly. If you notice work piling up or people sitting idle, it's time to tweak. Now, I'll be honest, teams sometimes push back. Maybe they think the limit's too low or they're worried about slowing down. That's normal. The key is to involve everyone in the conversation. Look at your workflow together, talk about what's working and what's not, and adjust as you go. I've seen teams using Miro's Kanban board, for example, start with a WIP limit of 5, realize things are still getting stuck, and then drop it to 3. Suddenly, the flow improves. Or if things feel too tight, you can always bump it up a notch. The point is, you're inspecting and adapting. Classic Agile. Here's a quick tip I share in my workshops. Start small, inspect, and adapt. Don't be afraid to experiment. The best WIP limits are the ones your team owns and refines together. And remember, the goal isn't to restrict, it's to create focus, flow, and a sense of accomplishment. That's how you unlock real productivity. All right, that's a wrap for today's bite-sized agile lesson. If you're ready to try WIP limits with your team, start simple and keep the conversation going. We'll be back soon with more ways to unlock your agile potential. Until next time, keep finishing strong.